Have you ever wondered how some people remain calm no matter what happens? They glide through chaos like it's a gentle breeze. And yet, you, me, we find ourselves exhausted by the most innocent conversation. You walk away from lunch with a coworker or a phone call with a friend, and you feel empty. Not angry, not sad, just strangely tired. Today I'll share the secret to controlling your emotions like a Stoic, because emotional fatigue doesn't always come from arguments. Sometimes it seeps in through the tiny holes: chit-chat, passive comments, subtle judgments, things no one else seems to notice. You think you're calm? Wait until someone tests you. Then we'll see. So before you relax, take a second to like the video and subscribe. But only if you truly enjoy what I'm building here. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time of day it is. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe so we can continue exploring deeper Stoic lessons together each day. I had a friend once. Let's call him Jamie. Nice guy, always polite, never dramatic. And yet, every time we met for coffee, I walked away feeling like my battery had been siphoned through a polite straw. He didn't insult me. He didn't complain. But something about his energy always left me drained. The Stoics had a word for this kind of encounter: diathesis, a sort of inner disposition that can be influenced, slowly and invisibly, by other. Marcus Aurelius once warned, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. But what if it also takes on the color of someone else's thoughts, just by sitting too close for too long?" That's the hidden cost of harmless conversation. It's not the words. It's the undercurrent, the mental fog, the indirect fears, the neediness wrapped in friendliness. Seneca often retreated not to be antisocial, but to preserve his moral clarity. Oddly, he would sometimes write letters in complete silence while wearing a single sock. He claimed it kept him aware of comfort's slippery grip. Now, I'm not suggesting you wear one sock to brunch, but I do think we need a modern equivalent. Here's a question debated even now in psychological circles. Is energy depletion emotional or neurological? Do conversations exhaust us because of what's said, or how we're wired to react to what's unsaid? If you've ever walked away feeling off without knowing why, you've met the mystery. It took me years to realize I didn't need to feel guilty for limiting those conversations, because self-preservation isn't cruelty, it's wisdom. There's a strange kind of fatigue that comes not from yelling or conflict, but from subtle pressure. Have you ever talked to someone who never directly complains, but you somehow leave feeling responsible for their unhappiness? That's a quiet theft. And it happens more often than we notice. It's like carrying someone else's invisible luggage. And it happens when we confuse compassion with obligation. I used to believe that being strong meant absorbing anything, that a good friend is always available, that it's selfish to step back. But the Stoics warned us, clearly. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." And that applies to boundaries too. Because when you begin to conserve your emotional energy, people may call you distant, cold. They'll wonder why you're not as open as you used to be, and you'll have to let them. I once had a mentor who, oddly, never sat down during meetings. He claimed chairs made him too receptive. It sounded ridiculous at the time until I noticed how grounded he stayed while everyone else spiraled in groupthink. He taught me something quietly brilliant. Posture is emotional permission. If you lean forward with eager eyes, every time someone speaks, they'll fill that space, even if it means overwhelming you. There's a debate among therapists. Is emotional drainage a result of poor boundaries or of poor self-knowledge? Are we drained because we're too open, or because we don't really know what we're trying to protect? The more I sat with that, the more I saw the pattern. Certain conversations weren't conversations at all. They were invitations to hold someone else's chaos without them ever asking if I had room for it, and I kept accepting the invitation out of habit. You don't need to slam the door on people, but you can choose which windows you keep open. Some people just want to feel a breeze, others want to move in. Learn the difference, and you'll feel the weight lift. There was a moment that changed everything for me. A simple afternoon, quiet coffee, long conversation, and by the end, I felt like I'd run a marathon. Not because of what was said, but because I realized, halfway through, that I was no longer listening. I was managing their emotions, their expectations, their silences. Like a diplomat in a hostage negotiation where the only hostage was my peace. I used to think this was noble. Now I see it was just untrained empathy, without discipline. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." That's a balanced exchange. Anything else becomes spiritual taxation. I had a friend who, weirdly, carried coins everywhere. Actual old Roman coins, tucked in his pocket like talismans. He said they reminded him that every moment was currency. Spend it well, or someone else will. I thought it was eccentric. But he never seemed drained. Because he chose conversations the way some people choose investments. With discernment, not guilt. Now, philosophers still argue this idea. Is selective attention a form of wisdom or subtle selfishness? When we withdraw from certain people, are we practicing Stoic restraint or just avoiding discomfort? That question haunts me sometimes. But then I remember this. The Stoics weren't cold. They were clear. They believed emotions were tools, not masters. And that clarity is kindness, even when it looks like distance. I had a friend who, weirdly, carried coins everywhere. Actual old Roman coins, tucked in his pocket like talismans. He said they reminded him that every moment was currency. Spend it well, or someone else would. I thought it was eccentric. But he never seemed drained. Because he chose conversations the way some people choose investments. With discernment, not guilt. Now, philosophers still argue this idea. Is selective attention a form of wisdom or subtle selfishness? When we withdraw from certain people, are we practicing Stoic restraint or just avoiding discomfort? That question haunts me sometimes. But then I remember this. The Stoics weren't cold. They were clear. They believed emotions were tools, not masters. And that clarity is kindness, even when it looks like distance. I've started viewing conversations like fires. Some are warm and nourishing. Others just burn oxygen and leave ashes. And the truth is, not every fire deserves your wood. I've stopped over-explaining my silence, stopped apologizing for conserving energy, and something remarkable happened. The right people stayed. The draining ones faded. Peace didn't come through confrontation. It came through calibration. Because your energy is sacred. And not everyone gets a plug. So if you've been feeling heavy after simple interactions, if small talks leave big dents in your calm, you're not broken. You're just learning to notice the weight of invisible things. The Stoics taught us that strength doesn't mean carrying everything. Sometimes, it means choosing what not to carry. The world will always offer you chaos, but you don't have to RSVP. Guard your inner space with quiet grace. Speak gently, but carry boundaries like a shield. Because peace isn't found in escape, it's found in mastery. Let your energy return to you. And trust that those who truly value your presence will honor your silence too. If this video helped you breathe a little easier, please like and subscribe so we can continue exploring deeper Stoic lessons together each day. And let me know in the comments, where are you watching from, and what time is it right now? This matters.